Welcome back, traders. Today we've got the third day in a row of all of our Bitcoin miners being up massively. Bitcoin is holding strong up here at this $42,000 level. It looks like we're flagging here. There is a nice long wick at the bottom of this candle. Let's get into a lower time frame and see if that is still the case. Well, it looks like on the lower time frame we're starting to get more wicks on top. Well, maybe an even amount of wicks on top and bottom, but it seems that from what I can tell here on the 2 hour chart, the wicks on top are a little bit longer, which gives me a little bit of pause in terms of thinking about the strength of this move. I would say if we were to break this channel here, we're probably going to have a bad time. You do it about right there-ish. I'm going to lock that down. If we break that, I think we're having a bad time. I think we break that, we're going to get back into this box, which is between 40 and 37,000. The other thing, and I brought this up last time, was the RSI divergence showing up on the daily chart. You can see here RSI was up at 86 when the price was down at 35. Now the price is up at 42 and the RSI is down here at 77. When you have an RSI divergence, so the RSI is going down while price is going up, generally the general rule is you draw a trend line following the trend up, and when that trend line is broken to the downside or upside, whatever type of divergence you're looking at, in this case bearish, if that is to happen, so if price of Bitcoin is to break this orange trend line here, we're probably going to see it retrace down here into the high 20s or low 30s, because RSI divergence moves are usually quite powerful when they happen. Let's see here, was this one back here too? This was one back here too. So you can see right here, here's a perfect example. So let me get my array out. RSI was up here and it was moving down. Let me make that a little bit smaller too. So RSI was moving down. Price was moving up during that same period of time. So from here and then over here, price was higher, RSI was lower. Broke that trend line, came back, tested it, and then dropped off. Came almost back to where this trend began. So we started around, what, 16,000. The move as RSI was reached its peak around 21,000, and it went all the way up to 25-ish thousand and came all the way down back to 19,000. So that was a pretty big swing. Now, if you extrapolate that out, since we're double the price right now, it's going to be a $10,000 move back down to $30,000 if we break that. Now, if this one right here was a bit of a fake out. You see that it came down, broke it, held it for 3 or 4 days. I would have said that's confirmed. Then it came here, washed out all the shorts, held that for about a week, and then said, never mind, and came all the way back down before rocketing back up again. Now, we could see that exact sort of thing play out here too, where it comes, breaks the level, fakes you out, rides the trend line, breaks to the downside in a big way, gets everyone terrified, and then just V-shaped recovery back to 50K. That could happen. But just be prepared for that type of move to happen in Bitcoin. And if that were to happen in Bitcoin, the miners would respond in a dramatic fashion to that. So let's have a look-see at Mara. So right now I'm looking at, what I am trying to do now is I am looking at trying to call tops on these stocks right now. And that's because I'm up massively right now. I'm looking at close to $10,000 gains in the last few weeks just from this space down here, back in October, and this run up here. I'm looking at some pretty substantial gains, and I am wondering how can I lock some of those in and also get back in to this stock when the prices come back down to reality somewhere, maybe, in the 13, 12, $11 range, maybe even back to 10.50-ish. That would be great. The way I am trying to do that is, well, one, with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin comes back down, does that retracement, which would be breaking this trend line, coming down probably into this box here around 31,000-ish, and then doing a V-shaped recovery, that's when I would be getting it. Like if I see Bitcoin come down to here and stop, inside of this box, the very next day I'm buying miners. Like that's just what I'm gonna do. It's gonna come down, break that. If it gets into this box and pauses in this box, I'm buying miners. That's just exactly what I'm gonna do. That would be a very exciting thing. Kind of like if it's like here, how I'm seeing it's pausing in this box, I'm thinking I should sell here. But of course, if we go back to last time when it did a move like this, it came up, flagged, and kept going, flagged, and kept going, and then started making its way down. What I might do is wait for this sort of move here, where price comes to the top, I get a nice big wick like up here, and then price comes down and then bounces, and then I'd probably be looking to sell somewhere around right there. And in this case, if it does that, I'm thinking that's probably going to do something. If this is the top, probably something like this. It's going to come down to this box, maybe even to here, and then back up to here about 1450, and then I'm looking there as maybe my exit while price continues to come down, hopefully maybe to 12 or even all the way down here where I would look to re-enter. That's what I am thinking strategically right now. I'm looking a lot at RSI, which is currently almost at 80 on Mara on the daily chart. I'm looking at this volume oscillator down here. Let me make that a little bit bigger, actually. Let me call these a little bit bigger. So this is a volume oscillator. It's basically just like these bars, but it's got a, here, let me show you the settings on this thing. Okay, so the orange is supply, the blue is demand, zero line, and then you got the volume viewer. So red, obviously, red volume, green, obviously, green volume. Whenever this crosses, as you can see, it crossed on November 16th, and after that, we've been on an epic run. Pretty great. Over here, it crossed to the red right here. Yeah, right there. Pretty epic run down until it crossed back up. That's on the daily. Now, that's not perfect, but it's not a bad indicator, right? Like right here, crossed to the red. We got a little our bounce. We came back to the zero line, and I said, never mind, and came all the way down. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for this volume oscillator to either, as you can see, it's on its way down right now. It is. It is angling down, and when it gets to here, down to back to that zero line, that's where I'm looking to possibly make a sale and maybe wait until it comes back down to like the 10.50, maybe even under $10 range. Because currently my cost basis is about 12.50. So if it came down to 10 and I got back in at 10, that'd be pretty dramatic and fantastic. So looking at Bit Farms, same thing. You can see this is again the daily. The volume oscillator is getting close to coming back and trying to cross. Now sometimes it'll fake you out, like on these red ones, you can see. Sometimes the volume oscillator will fake you out, like it's coming up and it's like, never mind, we're going back down, coming up, and never mind, we're coming back down. So it could come down here and be like, never mind, we're gonna go back up to $4 now. That would make me cry. That would suck. Because I probably would sell as soon as I got a red tick down here, and that's probably around this price, 167 or something, and then watch it take off to $4 right after that. I would lose it. That would be such a bad thing. Which is also why I'm considering maybe not selling anything and just holding through, even though I know it's going to cool off. I know price is probably going to come back down to the 150 range, probably get inside of this box again in the 140s. Um, before continuing on back up because this move is just it's basically vertical. It's just completely vertical. It can't. That's unsustainable. It can't just keep doing that. It has to cool off at some point. So, but of course, me saying that and thinking that gives me a bit of paralysis in terms of trading this because I have a lot of shares. I have not reached the point that I want to sell yet, but there's so much profit on the table. It's hard to not take some. So that's what I'm looking at there. Bit Digital, same sort of thing. It's just rocketing up. We saw a similar move back here in May, where it went from 190 all the way up to 344, which is basically exactly where we are right now. But this time we went from $2. Well, oh geez, we did do the same move, didn't we? Basically the same move, except we had a lot of consolidation there first. We had some down here, but this time, so this is almost the same kind of move. So this 190, what I was at 196, 197. This one was at 193, and it went up to 344. And 344, 345. Now we've gone to 342. Last time it did that, it stayed up here for around this range between 345 and 334, 4 days. We got 4 days before it wicked down to 250 and then consolidated around the $3 range for 4 days. Did a little flag, which looked like a bear flag. That would have faked me out pretty bad. And then volume flipped green and we went on this epic run up to almost $5. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Bit Digital to come back down to where these two channels intersect. Maybe wick down to like this green line here, maybe, and then continue back on up. That's what I'm looking for on that. And I'm waiting for this volume oscillator to help me understand when that has happened. What happened on the volume oscillator when that happened? So it was green, little green mound, had a red day, finally flipped red here when we got that big wick. Finally flipped red there, and then faked us out, went back up, stayed flat, and then phew, I don't know how to replicate that. That's that's such a little volume, almost nothing happening there, nothing to really go off of. But it's a similar pattern. I can't say I know it's going to happen, but I feel like we're going to bounce around in this box around 350 to 250 over the next month or two or three, looking for some kind of movement down in stocks like BT, Mara, Bitfarms. Down a little bit, pull back, looking for buying opportunities. If I miss my opportunity to sell, lock in some profit, and then buy back in lower, I'm at least looking to buy back in lower. That's my idea for now. I am thinking price will come down a bit because I mean these movements are just parabolic at this point. They've got to top off somewhere, and we'll see where that is. And I'm watching, every day, trying to see where I can pick that up. The other play I'm looking at is bonds, treasuries, U.S. government debt. So this one is TMF. This is a triple leveraged ETF of the 20-year bond. That is the same thing as TLT, but triple leveraged. If you can see up here at the top, TLT was up 1.63% today, and TMF is up it's moving up now 4.85% on the day, about 3% more than TLT. So the thing with the 20-year bonds is that we're at peak rate right now, unless something really strange occurs in the economy. We're at peak rate. The current rate is about 5% for the 20-year bonds, which means we have pretty much a 4 to 5% runway for yields to come down. And for every 1% that the yield comes down on TLT, or on the 20-year bond, excuse me, TLT moves up 10%. So from here, it's going to be a little over $100. For every 1%, it's $10, or not $10, but 10%, which means we have about a 40% runway on TLT. So this is, valued somewhere up in the 130s, 140s range. So somewhere up here. So you got all this space right here for gains from here up, based on TLT. TMF is 3 times that. So we've got a 150 to 120% movement range on this. And it's because now this one's much more risky because it's 3%. It has decay. It has other factors at play. So you might not get that exactly, but you're looking at, a similar runway, but instead of from 94 to 140, you're looking at 56 to about 120. And that runway there. I do have, so recently they did a reverse split. I had about 500 shares. Now I have about 50 shares of this. It was $5, just last week. Now it's $56 per share. But it's the same thing as that was before. This is triple leveraged. So every 1% TLT moves, this moves 3%. I'm trying to do a 100% gain on this in the next 24 to 36 months. That's what I want. I want a 100% return on TMF in that time period. That's what I'm looking for. I will settle for less if I must, but that is what I want. Again, this is not financial advice of any type. So this is not a suggestion for anyone to buy, sell, or hold any securities or other assets. It's just what I'm doing in my portfolio. This is another play, a trade that I am in addition to the Bitcoin miners that I'm hoping to make a nice, tidy profit off of. It's just something to keep in mind, broaden your horizons to different types of trades that are out there that are happening now that have, you know, some level of interest and risk to them and, some level of profitability potentially. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.